Do you struggle with keeping your gut and stomach healthy? Do you find that you have irritable bowel syndrome and you get really bad cramps in your stomach? I know I have over the years. Do you find that you can't digest your food properly and you get chronic diarrhea at times? The doctors can't find anything wrong with you and you haven't got a bug. Do you find that you have food allergies, gluten, dairy, allergies to eggs, allergies to dust, anything really? Do you find that you feel generally unwell and you feel low and you feel just sluggish? Well, you could be lacking some serious good friendly bacteria in your stomach. Hi, I'm Jeff. We are the Think community. Welcome to our channel. We are here to help you create the life that you want by changing your mind within. This video is looking at how to create something really great in your own home with natural, good, fantastic probiotics, better than yogurt, better than you can buy in the shops. Something really fantastic, and it is called Kefir. You may have heard of it, you may have seen it in the shops. It's quite expensive. I've been using it for about 8 years now, and I want to share a video called How to Make Vegan Kefir, and how to make kefir that is really good, high in probiotics, and also gluten and dairy free. I've been interested in kefir for about 8 years now, and I went to a health food shop in a local town of mine, and I saw it there and I thought, I read about it. They got something called, it's got a K2 vitamin in there, which is a good probiotic vitamin. And I'd been feeling a bit low, and I'd been feeling, I have a lot of allergies. I have allergies to gluten and dairy and eggs. So my body struggles at times to digest food, and I'm always looking for something to try and make me feel better and healthy. And I've been looking at these probiotics, and because I have a dairy allergy, a lot of probiotics have dairy in them, so I can't take it. So I've been sort of resulting in little capsules, which are all very well, but it's not the same as real live, fresh probiotics. So I went to a health food shop, and I did find some dairy kefir, and I thought, oh, shall I give it a go? I'll probably regret it the next day, but I did try it, and I found over a period of a year, if I had it maybe once every 2 months, I could get the healthy bacteria into my system, and it would help me for a few weeks, and I wouldn't have a very nasty reaction to it. So for a while, it worked for me. Things have moved on recently. The whole vegan movement has really increased, and it's fantastic for people like me who have allergies to dairy and gluten, because it's helped supermarkets to re-look again at what is it we eat, and labeling of food has really improved over recent years. And I am able to now get vegan, dairy-free kefir. But the downside is it's so expensive. And sometimes it could have been on the shelves for a while, and the sell-by date is okay, but it's not the same as getting fresh probiotics into your system. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna look around, I'm gonna get myself some vegan kefir cultures that respond well to non-dairy milk alternatives like almond and coconut and oat milk, and I'm going to make my own. And I'm going to see how it goes, and then I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to show everybody else how to make it as well. So this video is going to show you how to make vegan kefir, so keep watching. So what is kefir? What does it look like? Well, I'll show you later on, but kefir is like a little yellowy, little bit of cauliflower, or a little bit of cottage cheese, like a little round blob really. It grows. It produces itself. You can't produce it in a factory. It makes itself. So this kefir that I have originated from the original kefir somewhere on the planet, which is quite cool really, I think. So what kefir is it's the culture which goes into the milk or milk substitute, for example almond milk, and it turns it into like a slightly tangy, slightly fizzy, slightly yogurty kind of a drink. And it's fantastic. It really is. It's quite fresh. It tastes quite nice. It's like drinking a very pure yogurt, really. But of course, it depends on the milk you use. I tend to use almond milk, or I tend to use coconut cream, which gives a thicker, more yogurty feel. Kefir takes about 24 to 48 hours to ferment. Usually I keep it in the kitchen. You'll see in the video later on that I keep it in a warmer place at the kitchen, and the warmer the kitchen, the faster the kefir ferments. So I like to have my own kefir because I know that I can control what ingredients I put into it. I said I tend to use organic almond milk, or I use coconut cream or coconut milk, and I know the hygiene, and I know that I can make as much or as little as I want to, really. Kefir itself, because I'm making it myself, I'm saving a lot of money. I paid about £6, which is about $8 American money, for the kefir grains. And over the last, I think 8 months, they've had some little babies, and I've been able to give them to my aunt, who is a vegan, and she's making her own vegan kefir now, and really enjoying the process, and it's really easy, and I'll show you how later on in the video. What do I get from having kefir? Well, I think kefir, I don't know, it makes, well, I personally feel that it reduces the reaction my body has to allergies. Although I have a dairy-free and a gluten-free diet, and gluten is definitely a no-no for me, sometimes I do have a little bit of dairy, just because of going out for dinner and things. Sometimes it's just easier. I usually take a little probiotic. But since I've been taking kefir, I have felt that the allergies to when I have had to have a bit of dairy, or I've had a little bit of egg in something like some bread, the allergy reaction has been greatly reduced. Generally, I found that my stomach is better. I have found that generally, sort of, without being too crude, bowel movements are more regular, and generally you have a feeling of well-being, and your skin feels better. Sort of, if you suffer any sort of spots at all, they reduce down. I feel that it helps me to digest my food better. I have quite a lot of sort of healthy sort of green foods anyway, a lot of salads and vegetables and fish and that sort of stuff. I don't follow a pure vegan diet, but I do have a lot of vegan food within that as well, a lot of grains and pulses and things and nuts and seeds. And I just feel that it keeps my health at like an even balance, really, and I just feel better on it. I think that's the key. If you're taking something and you don't feel good on it, don't take it. But if you feel good on something like kefir and it works for you, then go for it. It makes sense for you, doesn't it? It makes sense. If it's good for you, go for it. What are the claims, the scientific claims that kefir has? Well, there's got a few. I've actually written an article, and the link will be below the video. But I have read quite a lot, done a lot of research on kefir the last couple of years, and there's some great claims, and some of them are backed up with evidence. So the ones I'm putting forward are the ones backed up by evidence. But I think one of the main things that I started taking kefir for was the probiotics. I wanted a probiotic, something with K2 in. Now K2 is a vitamin, but it's also a probiotic vitamin which helps to improve your gut health. Your gut, sort of your stomach health, and how to digest food. You get K2 in sauerkraut, which is like a fermented cabbage, kimchi, which is Korean cabbage. You get it in natto, which is Japanese, like soya beans. You also get little probiotic drinks you get in supermarkets. But it's one of the best sources of probiotics in K2. And I wanted that in my system. I felt that I needed it. I felt that I wanted to get that into my system and help me with my allergies and help reduce those allergies, really, and reactions to them. Other claims are, and they've done some evidence, some scientific research, that kefir helps to increase bone absorption of calcium and reducing calcium leaching out of bones. So they've linked it very much healthy for osteoporosis, where you get sort of brittle bones in older age, especially for women postmenopausal. After menopause, they tend to lose calcium from bones, so it can help improve bone health, which is fantastic. And especially for people who are vegan as well, who maybe aren't getting as much calcium. Hopefully they are, but maybe they're not, and they're looking for an alternative in their diet. But I think some of these claims are all very well. A lot of the claims have been done on dairy milk from cows and sheep and goats. And goat's milk is traditionally the milk they use to produce kefir. But it depends on what you're using as a milk alternative. I tend to use like almond milk, which has some vitamins and calcium put in it. Also, coconut milk is very good. Coconut cream is very good for calcium, so that can help increase the absorption of calcium into your body. Kefir has also been found to have antibacterial properties, which is something I'm really interested in. I don't know if you've got children at all, but young children seem to pick up everything and anything, and then the parents pick it up as well. So often you're constant colds and flus and that sort of thing, and stomach upsets. Since being on Kefir, when I take Kefir, I do find that I stay healthier. I fight off colds better. I fight off stomach bugs really well, whereas before, 5 or 6 years ago, I was getting every stomach bug that was going, and I'm finding when I take Kefir, I don't get that anymore. I'm not saying it won't ever happen, but the incidences, the occurrences of it happening have reduced greatly. Kefir is high in nutrients. I said before, it depends on the milk that you're using, the milk alternative you're using, but they found it's very high in phosphorus, high in calcium, it's high in B2 and B1, it's also high in magnesium, vitamin D, and well, it depends really what else you're using. I like the coconut cream because it does have some fats in it, and I like to have keep some fats in my diet, like avocado and coconut oil, because it helps keep your skin well, and I do suffer from dry skin sometimes, so I do find that helps. But having it in a coconut cream, you get the fat intake in a probiotic, which is easily digested, but also you get the minerals and vitamins from coconut, and also you get the healthy probiotics on top as well, which helps digest it all as well, which is just fantastic. I said before, I started taking Kefir to help me with my own allergies, but research has shown that Kefir can actually help with reducing allergies, asthma particularly. They've done some studies with rats, and whilst I'm not condoning animal testing, the evidence is there clearly in black and white. I said in the article below there are some links to the research, but they did find that it did help the rats' lung conditions, and it did help them to reduce any immune responses to allergies in the body, which is fantastic for someone like myself who does suffer from allergies. It's really positive, and for any of you out there who are wanting to take Kefir for allergies or general well-being, really, it can help. Okay, so I'm going to start to make my vegan Kefir. I've got some coconut milk. I've got reduced fat, but you can use full fat. Actually, the full fat does give you a more creamier, yogurty kind of Kefir, so I prefer that. But for today, I've got some reduced fat. I'm trying to watch the weight. We've got a Pyrex dish here. I picked it up from the charity shop, gave it a good scrub. I've been using it for quite a while now. And a lid, a loose fitting lid. They do recommend putting like a muslin cloth over it, but I tend to use this lid here because it's quite loose fitting. You want a little bit of air to be able to get into the Kefir and help with the fermentation process. Wooden spoon, don't use any kind of metal whatsoever with the Kefir. It can affect the cultures, and really I think it can help kill the cultures. So use metal or glass utensils, bowls, and this here, I keep the Kefir in this a little plastic dish, little plastic bowl with a tight lid on. I keep it in the fridge because if you're not making Kefir, sometimes you get an excess of Kefir. You don't need all of it, so you may make enough here for a few days, and then you can put this one in a bit of Kefir juice. You can see it in there, and the Kefir culture is in there, ready to go into the milk. So what we do is we put the milk into there, and I'm using coconut milk, but you can use almond milk, soya milk, oat milk, whatever milk you prefer, and whatever milk you have to hand, as long as it has a little bit of sugar, a little bit of fat in there, because that's what the Kefir likes to eat off. It feeds off the fat and the sugars, and it helps to increase the fermentation process. So we put the milk in, then we'll put the Kefir cultures in. Also a good idea, if you do we need to keep it in a little bit of Kefir anyway, so it lives in the fridge up to a couple of weeks. Nothing longer than that, because you can tend to get a little bit of mold on the top. If you do, scrape it off and then use the Kefir culture into some new milk. I wouldn't recommend leaving it any longer than 2 weeks. So they recommend covering the jar with a muslin cloth. I'm using, as I said, the glass lid. And they say anywhere, you leave it between 24 hours to 48 hours, 2 to 3 days tops. I wouldn't go any more than 2.5 to 3 days, and that's enough time for the Kefir cake grains to mix with the milk, the vegan milk. It also cultures faster in a warmer kitchen than a cooler one. I tend to leave mine out of sunlight in a sort of darker area of the kitchen. But a warmer environment will improve and quicken, increase the kefir fermentation process. The longer you leave it out, the more tangy and cultured it will become. It separates into a clear liquid in clumps. It looks a little bit like a sort of a yogurty kind of lumps in like a watery kind of milk. It looks like, if you know sort of ordinary milk, if you've had milk go off in the fridge and it tends to separate, the kind of the milky fat separates from the watery milk culture. It looks a little bit like that, but we'll show you that after this has been fermented for a few days. So I pour the coconut milk into the bowl. I said this is quite a lot. Normally, if I'm making it with almond milk, I tend to use half of this amount, but I quite like, every so often, every couple of weeks, I do use a coconut milk, coconut cream, because you do get a real nice, more of a yogurty, thicker yogurty feel. And I do believe that it gives the kefir cultures, a bit of a treat, a nice fatty kind of sort of more fattier based milk of some kind. So the coconut milk's in there, and then I open up and put in, as you see in there, the kefir culture is in here. I'll show you it. I leave a little bit of mixture in because the mixture going into the milk helps to start off the fermentation process. But I'm going to show you little bits, see there, little bits of kefir grains really. And then the kefir itself looks like this. There you go. I call mine Bert. Hello, Bert. It looks like a little bit of cottage cheese, but it's not. But I like to think of it like a living organism. I place it in there very gently, and I just mix it around a little bit with a wooden spoon, very gently, and you see it in there. There's Bert. There you go. And then put the lid on again with a little bit of space. Don't seal it in. Don't have a top that seals it in, because you need a bit of air going in there to help the fermentation process. This is a very loose fitting jar. You see it's very loose. And I place it out of the way in the kitchen in a warm space, not in direct sunlight, for a couple of days, and then the fermentation process will begin. And there you have it. That's how you start off the vegan kefir culture in the coconut milk. I said before, you can use any other milk you want, almond, soya, oat milk, whatever you feel comfortable with. And we'll see what happens in a couple of days' time. Okay, the kefir culture has been in the coconut milk, coconut cream for a couple of days. Taking the lid off, and as you can see, just move the camera down a little bit, it's still in there. I can find it. Come on, Bert. He's in there somewhere. I can see him floating around. There he is. Look, there's Bert. So what I do with Bert is I put Bert, by using a wooden spoon, into a little pot again, and I pour in some kefir liquid, just so Bert can live in there, nice and secure, in the fridge for a few days until I decide to make some more. I said usually this liquid will last me a few days, about 3 or 4 days. If I start making it now, it'll back up and I'll have too much. So keep a little plastic pot there, put a lid on it, and put it in the fridge, like so. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sieve the rest of the kefir mixture into a bowl, into a little glass jug, and I also have another glass jar. I'm just going to get it out, that I use. As you can see, I keep my kefir liquid in this. Again, glass. I don't use plastic. I don't use metal. I keep my kefir liquid in that. So I filter it into the glass jug, like so, and I put it into the glass jar with a lid. Just an ordinary sauce jar that I got from the supermarket. Cleaned it off, and I keep it in the fridge then. So I wash it around. I'm straining it because if there are any little kefir cultures that have been born from the kefir mixture, as you can see, there's a few little ones in there. See them? little tiny ones just coming. It's good because what happens is they start to grow more, and then you can give them away to friends and family. So I'll just put them into my little kefir mixture. I said before, I've given it to my auntie, and she's making her own kefir mixture. So there we go. Got the kefir mixture in the jug there. Just move that out of the way there, and then I pour it into my glass jar. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. And that, as I said before, about 3 or 4 days worth in the morning, sometimes in the evening, have a little bit as well. I don't waste any. Get your wooden spoon and just put it in there. There you go. And there you have some fantastic homemade, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free kefir. And now I'm going to try some. So we've made the kefir. You've seen me in the kitchen. We've made the kefir, we've fermented the kefir, and we've then put it into the jar. It's ready to drink now. Here I have some kefir, the coconut cream kefir that I made earlier. I said before, it's kind of like a milky in consistency, not too dissimilar to the coconut cream, but the taste challenge. Lovely. Again, it tastes like yogurt to me personally. I haven't tasted dairy yogurt properly for a long time, but I have tasted the kefir, the dairy kefir, and it tastes very much like that. You should get a little bit of a slight tang, a slight effervescence, I suppose, like a bit of a bubble, like very flat champagne. You get a bit of a taste like that on your tongue, which is great. It means it's working really well. And the longer you leave it, the stronger that will get. I tend to leave it maybe 2 or 3 days, 40 hours, more or less tops for me. A little bit longer if I've got coconut cream. That's enough for me. The longer you leave it, especially coconut cream, the thicker it gets. If you want a real yogurty yogurt, go for maybe 4 or 5 days. But personally, I prefer the 3 days. Have a go. Get yourself some kefir cultures. Let me know how you get on. I'm really interested to see how you get on. Try different milks. Share it with your family. Get your kids involved, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your mums and dads. Get them drinking kefir and see how it makes them feel. If it makes you feel good, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, you've tried it, haven't you? And thanks for watching. If you can, give us a thumbs up and share with your friends. Brilliant. We've got a link below to my channel, the Think You're Happy community. Think You're Happy website. There are 3 bespoke meditations which can help you with success in your life. It's all about changing your mind really and helping you take control of your life and take back control and enjoy your life, I think. Thanks for watching and take care. Bye-bye. What? I've got some milk on my... I have, haven't I? Sorry.